welcome to Citizen Extra on this, the second day of June 2017. My name is Wahiga Mwaura and we are bringing to you right now live images from across the country as the IEBC gubernatorial nomination process continues. We're live in Eldoret, we're live in Migori, we are live in Kirinyaga, and I believe that should be Kisumu as well. Let me see clarification on that. And we have reporters across in those different counties. Remember, some governors and gubernatorial aspirants actually presented their papers yesterday, and others hope to do so today or have planned to do so today, some as early as 8 in the morning, and we'll have reports in discussion with all our reporters even throughout the course of the morning. And for those who will be there in the afternoon as well, we'll have more updates during Citizen Live at 1. Welcome to the broadcast. We have quite an exciting show lined up for you. In fact, I could call today the governor's race because we'll be talking quite a bit about that throughout the course of the show. I'm not alone in studio. I'm joined by an esteemed panel, and let me just introduce them to you briefly. We have Joyce Mdivo, a governance analyst, here with me in studio. Welcome to the show. Joy Mdivo. We also have Cynthia Mutere, another governance analyst, also joining me on the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And to ensure that we have gender parity, I'm joined by Dr. Sam Kamau, a political analyst.
Thank you.
Right, well, bearing in mind what's been happening across the counties, let's cross over immediately to Migori, where Stephen Leto joins us. He tells me that there's a lot of action happening there as aspirants actually began a process of meeting in the different constituencies, and they'll be making their way to the IEBC, where the IEBC is located in Migori County, where they've set up to present their documents. And the issue of independent candidates is what Leto will be going into at the moment. Stephen Leto, if you can hear me, what is the latest?
Well, a very good morning to you, Wahiga Mwaura, there in studio. Like you've put it right, the county's headquarters, where the gubernatorial aspirants are presenting their nominations papers to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission for clear. Incumbent governor submitted his papers and he was cleared. That same thing happening today where his opponent running on an independent ticket, that is Ochilo Ayako, a former cabinet minister, presenting his to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission for clearance before now the real contest, that is the battle of the titans for the battle of Migori kicks off. Of course, that will be done at the county's returning center, that is the Migori Teachers Training College, where that exercise will be taking place, as well as that also going all the way to members of parliament who did not submit that yesterday. Remember, for members of parliament as well as the gubernatorial aspirants. And so this morning, supporters of Ochilo Ayako running on an independent ticket for Migori County governor's seat have already staged a road show. They have already camped in Migori from last night already, like you've seen earlier there when we played you those clips. Those were supporters of Ochilo Ayako who had come early in earnest just to await their candidate, that is Ochilo Ayako, to present his papers to the IEBC. Of course, things are, as we speak now, things are calm, just like they were yesterday. Supporters of Ochilo Ayako calming down themselves, waiting for their candidate before they escort him all the way to Migori Teachers Training College. And so, like you've seen, a lot of activities, a lot of scenes and dances behind the scenes, Wahiga. But just quickly, we want to listen to these supporters who are at first the Orange Democratic Movement diehards, and now they are the independent is dubbed as an ODM stronghold of Migori. And so I'll sample very quickly and briefly, Wahiga, some views from them, what they think of that transition from ODM and now running an independent candidate, that is Ochilo Ayako. And I want to be joined by one of them here. Tell us.
Okay, my name is Robert Mondi. Yeah, I'm a supporter of Ochilo, and we have a lot of strength and we have a lot of hopes that coming August we are going to win, a clear win very early in the morning, because as you can view,
Well, we seem to be having some technical issues there. We'll be going back to him shortly. What he's trying to say basically is that the incumbent, Okoth Obado, presented his documents yesterday. Ochilo Ayako is expected to present his documents today. Now, independent candidates want to give a show of might, rather, to pass a message to ODM leader Raila Odinga that despite the fact that he may have, quote-unquote, sidelined them, they have the numbers. So what Stephen Leto had told me a bit earlier on is that they expect roadshows from different constituencies, which actually began at 8 in the morning. I believe he's part of what should be a roadshow in the next few minutes, and they will then proceed, move over to where the IEBC has set office in Magori Teachers Training College at 11 o'clock to present their documents. So we're going back to Stephen Leto shortly, but for now let's cross over to Kirinyaga. The incumbent governor Joseph Ndathi presented his documents yesterday. He's vying on an independent ticket. What we expect today is Anne Waiguru should have presented her documents at between 8 and 9 in the morning, and then after that Kennedy Macharia of the chapter party will be presenting his documents from 11, and in the afternoon Kenya party leader Martha Karua. Gashuru, if you can hear me, just give us an update right now. Are we still following that program in regards to the IEBC timetable for that county, or have things changed? What is the situation on the ground right now?
Very good morning to you, Waihiga, and indeed, as you put it, we're expecting the former devolution cabinet secretary Anne Waiguru to present her papers here at St. Michael's Girls Primary School in Kerugoya, and then at 11 we expect Kennedy Macharia, who is running on a Untitled Chapter ticket, and later on we are expecting Kenya party leader Martha Karua to present her papers. Karua was expected to present her papers yesterday, but she requested to be given another chance this afternoon. She was going to Nyeri yesterday for the Madaraka Day celebrations. Yesterday we saw two candidates cleared. That is Governor Joseph Ndathi, who is running as an independent candidate, and Moreithi Kagai, who is also running as an independent candidate. And as they were speaking after they were cleared, they dismissed claims that Kirinyaga County has, or rather the race in Kirinyaga County is a two-horse race. Indeed, Governor Ndathi saying that if there is any horse, then he is the horse that is being referred to. But of course, there has been talk that this is a two-horse race between Anne Waiguru and Martha Karua. However, we have, interestingly, we know that three candidates, that is Anne Waiguru, Martha Karua, and Governor Joseph Ndathi, come from GISHU constituency, which is one of the four constituencies here in Kirinyaga County. So we're expecting to see how the votes will be divided in that particular constituency. We also understand that Moreithi Kagai, who is also running for this seat, has picked a running mate from the same constituency, that is GISHU constituency. Now, Kirinyaga County has a total number of around 390 registered voters, so 5 candidates will be backing it out on the gubernatorial race. The 3 candidates have been cleared so far for the Senate race, including the current senator, or rather the incumbent, who is Daniel Karafa, another guy by the name Charles Kefiro, who is running as an independent candidate, and of course we expecting to see how things stand. Now, taking you back to the governor's praise, yesterday as we spoke to the 2 who have been cleared, they still insist that the Jubilee nominations were not free and fair. You remember Governor Ndathi was among those who were trying it out in the Jubilee Party's nominations, but he lost to Anne Waiguru, and he still insists that the nominations were not free and fair. And we also asked him about the President Uhuru Kenyatta's influence here in Mount Kenya region. Remember, President Kenyatta is the party leader, and we have seen him in some parts of the region trying to push for election of the Jubilee Party ticket holders, and Ndathi says they are still supporting the president, but when he comes to such regions, he should not campaign for anybody, saying that they are supporting the re-election of President Uhuru Kenyatta, and therefore the president should not campaign for the Jubilee Party ticket holder. So we will be following up to see how things stand here in this county, Waihiga.
Well, thank you so much, Macharia. Asante sana for that update. We'll be coming back to you to get more updates when some of the gubernatorial aspirants make their way to your current location. We now cross over straight to Kisumu County, where ODM gubernatorial aspirant Anyang' Nyong'o, who is the current senator there, has already made his way to those grounds and is handing over his nomination documents. Let's have a listen in to that particular conversation. Well, Senator Anyang' Nyong'o, he's meeting right now with IEBC officials in Kisumu County, presenting his documents. He's accompanied by his running mate, members of his family. He will be up against the incumbent Governor Jack Nguma, who is vying on an independent ticket. We're also told Atieno Otieno, the Jubilee aspirant, who is expected to present her papers later today as well. We expect a clash, a big clash there, of course, come August 8th. We'll be following up closely on that and going back there, of course, when there are more updates. But now, of course, since yesterday, Governor and MP aspirants across the country began presenting their nomination papers ahead of the August elections. We have an update, or a summary rather, of what's been happening across the counties. We can have those displayed on the screen right now. We'll be able to just update you on what is happening in the different counties. We begin with Nairobi County. Of course, all eyes on Nairobi County. Dr. Evans Kidero, who presented his documents yesterday. Mike Sonko, Senator Mike Sonko, also gunning for that same seat, also presented his documents yesterday. Miguna vying on an independent ticket, presented his documents yesterday. He had a challenge with his list of names because they were presented on a JPEG format, and IEBC requested they presented on an Excel format, but he went, got that sorted and came back. And of course, Peter Kenneth, who is also vying on an independent ticket, will be in this race should he get his clearance. He's expected at Kasarani, where IEBC is holding that particular process, from 10 o'clock. So we'll have that update as soon as he arrives. 6 aspirants were cleared yesterday, and we'll be following up with that even as the show continues. We now cross over to Migori County, and of course some are calling it a two-horse race there between Okoth Obado of ODM and Ochilo Ayako vying on an independent ticket. Okoth presented his documents yesterday and was cleared. Ochilo is expected to present his documents today from about 11 o'clock, and of course it will be a key test of the strength of independent candidates. Quite an interesting phenomena in this year's election. So that's what's happening in Migori County. Stephen Leto is there, and he'll be giving us more updates even as the program continues. We carry on now, and in Kirinyaga County, we've also just gotten an update from Kirinyaga County, where the incumbent Joseph Ndadi is vying on an independent ticket. He'll be up against Anne Waigoro, former Devolution CS, who's vying on a Jubilee ticket, and Martha Karua, NAKENYA leader, also vying, NAKENYA leader, who also will be in that race. We know that Governor Ndadi presented his documents yesterday. Waigoro, and Chap candidate Kennedy Macharia, and Martha Karua expected to present their documentation today. Interestingly, Joseph Ndadi, Anne Waigoro, and Martha Karua are from the GISHU constituency. It will be interesting to see how the politics of that constituency will affect the county as a whole. Again, we have our reporter there, and we will give you more updates. We're following keenly what happens there as and when we get them. Well, we cross over now to Nakuru County, and we have quite a strong competition there. Kinuthia Mbogwa, the governor, vying on an independent ticket, and of course that's something we'll be discussing with our panel here. Lee Kinyanjui, former NTSA chair, bagged the Jubilee ticket. Paul Njoroge, KANU nominated senator, presented his documents yesterday and was cleared. And of course, John Mutudo, former NAKADA chairman, vying on an independent ticket. This also expected to be quite a grueling battle between now and August 8th, of course, bearing in mind just a few days ago, IEBC officially kicked off or allowed the candidates or aspirants to start official campaigns, and we can expect them to see them traversing this vast county trying to sell their agenda. Well, 47 counties, but of course we're focusing on some of them for today. Kiambu County, of course, one that has also dominated our headlines over the last few months, and there we have a big race between Governor William Kabogo, who's vying on an independent ticket, some seeing him as a crucial leader in the new independent movement. He'll be up against the Jubilee gubernatorial aspirant Ferdinand Waitito. We know that Waitito presented his documents yesterday and was cleared to vie. William Kabogo expected to present his documents actually from 9 o'clock this morning. He might get there a bit later, and we have a reporter there as well who will get us some updates, and of course we'll have those images when the time comes. But he was expected there at 9 in the morning to present his documents to the IEBC. Well, we carry on UASIN GISHU County, and I know that John Wanyama will be giving us updates there when Jackson Mandago, the Jubilee gubernatorial aspirant, presents his documents. He'll be up against the Dakaya Kiprop Bundotich, better known to Kenyans at large as Buzeki, who is vying on an independent ticket. Now, Mandago is expected, after presenting his papers at 10 o'clock, to proceed to have a rally in Eldoret town, while Buzeki is expected to present his documents at 2 p.m. The IEBC's head office is stationed at Ken Mosa, just outside town, and we have John Wanyama there to give us those updates when both aspirants arrive. So that's just a snapshot of what's happening around the country. We'll also be telling you what's happening in Makueni, what happened in Machakos yesterday, and so much more during the course of this broadcast. Well, my panel is still here in studio. They've been very silent. Time to activate them now. Joyim Divo, governance analyst. Welcome to the show once again. Cynthia Mutere, governance analyst as well. And Dr. Sam Kamau, political analyst. Let's get straight into the issues. First things first, your reaction to the IEBC nominations process. Are you satisfied with how it's going on so far, or do you have any advice for the IEBC chairperson and the commission and the secretariat as well? Any of you, Joy?
The thing that I'm most impressed with is how it has been done seamlessly, especially with the gubernatorial one. You see the difference with what we have been seeing before is when it's been taken to the counties, where you do your presentation, where you're going to vie. We're able to clear a lot more candidates a lot faster with a lot less fuss than when you try to bring everything to Nairobi. And so I must congratulate them, because it's been one of those incidences with all the upheaval we've had during the primaries and all the party disputes and the political parties disputes, tribunal. Now we are seeing a process that seems more coordinated, with a lot of dignity, and even where there's been hiccups, people have been told exactly what is missing and given a chance to remedy themselves. So I think, for me, I'm quite impressed with what's going on, and I'm satisfied that even the candidates feel that they have been handled correctly.
Dr. Kamau, do you concur? Do you agree?
Well, yes, Wahiga, you did not expect that there would be many challenges at this stage. The only thing that was not clarified is IEBC had indicated that there are those candidates who had certain questions pending would experience challenges getting the clearance. But so far it has happened seamlessly, like Joy has indicated, and I think right across the country you didn't expect many challenges. But remember, this is just a part of the process. We'll have a dispute resolution arising out of maybe issues or people who may feel aggrieved one way or the other, and I think those questions will be addressed shortly.
Right, I want to bring in Cynthia now to help me talk about integrity issues. Of course, all of you can plug in on the same. We know that yesterday and of course the previous night, IEBC tweeted about the fact that they have received 106 cases from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission on the subject of enforcement of Chapter 6 of the Constitution. And they gave 3 recommendations, or 3 ways in which they are proceeding moving forward. Number 1, they said that they have written to the EACC to seek for more information and clarification. And I think we actually have that list. If my director can put up the list that was shared with the IEBC yesterday and the previous night on their Twitter handle. In addition, IEBC stated that they are also liaising with the Commission for University Education with regard to cases with questionable academic qualifications. And in addition, they are also written to the Public Service Commission and Judicial Service Commission for clarification in respect to former state and public officers. Cynthia, my question to you being, does the IEBC actually have enough time to follow up on 106 cases, of course in conjunction with EACC, and deal with them appropriately?
Absolutely not. This is too late in the day for them to bring up these cases, especially for the Ethics and Anti-Corruption, who have been so quiet for ever since we had the new chairman come into office. We have not heard of what they've been doing, and then when they're about to close the presentation of these papers, then we see the Ethics and Anti-Corruption now presenting this list to the IEBC. What is IEBC supposed to do now with this? What Ethics and Anti-Corruption should have done is forward this list to the DPP for prosecution to see if there are cases that need to be completed, if people are going to be convicted over this. This should have been done like 100 days ago before coming to this place. And so now we just see another beginning of, let's call it a circus then, the runaround of, no, we haven't got this clearance. And then these people, of course, are going to run. They will go into office, and then we will have the double tragedy of now going into by-elections. If then they will be found culpable, and if anything will come up, that they are then prosecuted and cases found against them, then there will be now re-elections in their constituencies, and that's going to be heavy on the taxpayers. So that's not something that we want to see. This is why we've been calling for the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and all these other institutions that have been put in place to actually be then doing their work as has been written in the Constitution. But of course we don't want to now ignore the place of party of political parties, because political parties really should have cleared these people. And why we're seeing this seamless kind of process going on with the IEBC is because basically a lot of the people passed through the political parties who were vetting. They had to come in with several documents that they presented to the political parties. Then the political parties were able to pass these candidates as the aspirants of the party, and then forward them to IEBC. So IEBC has had very little work to do. Of course, where independent candidates have not done the due diligence, like now the example of Miguna bringing in the JPEG file instead of the other file that was requested, then you find those hiccups. But basically it's been seamless because of the work that political parties have done. And so it's also now political parties having that place or department where they're able to also vet the candidates that are coming through and now being presented to IEBC.
But we'll actually touch on what role political parties and party leaders play in ensuring that integrity of their candidates, integrity issues rather, are followed up on. But Joy, my question to you being, what options now does IEBC have moving forward, bearing in mind a big number of aspirants are now candidates, they have the nomination certificates in their hands, and yet some of them may be mentioned in those 106 cases, although we don't have any names right now to begin with. What options would IEBC have moving forward?
IEBC has done the correct thing. It said that we've written back to Ethics and Anti-Corruption, we've written to now the relevant authorities to give us more information, but until we receive further information, we're going ahead and clearing them. So far, I don't see anyone being barred. So far, they've cleared most of the people who've come in to present their papers.
Well,
however,
go ahead, Joy.
However, Chairman Wabukati had set up a committee. He called it the Chapter 6 Implementation Committee that was multi-sectoral, and this committee was set up specifically to look at Chapter 6 issues. Now, one of the things that came out from that presentation, and also I think the Vice Chair was in this station at some time, and she actually categorically stated that the IEBC will not hesitate to bar anybody from running if they fail the Chapter 6 test to the required standard. Now, the required standard is the question. What is the required standard? And according to our laws, I don't even know why we wrote the laws this way, but I guess some people thought to be self-preservation, is that unless you have been convicted and all your appeals have been heard, and any tribunals that could be had on appeals of the appeals have been exhausted, then you cannot be barred from running. So with that information, then you can realize that barring somebody at this stage would be very, very difficult. However, one thing that I found very curious about that list is that in the columns, there is a column at the end where the cases were said to be culpable stroke convicted. Now, those are the ones I think who should be worried about their position, because if a case is simply pending investigations or is pending trial, you're still quote-unquote safe. But if you've already been decided that you're culpable or convicted, then you are in danger of actually failing the Chapter 6 test. And even at this point, there is nothing preventing the IEBC from exercising their mandate to say, by the way, we may have given you a certificate, but we are rescinding it because of 1, 2, 3. Because they're still, at this point, the process is very much in the IEBC's hands. It's out of the candidate's hands, it's out of the party's hands, it's out of the public's hands, it's now in the IEBC's hands. But one thing that I would wish as a country, when you're talking about integrity issues, the integrity test is not at, criminal culpability, you're looking at beyond reasonable doubt. For integrity test, it should be the aspersion should be enough. Let me borrow from what the South Koreans have done. They say their president might have been involved in some shady dealings with her friend.
Yes,
she was impeached, asked to step down. She has been replaced and is now going through the trial. This is what we should be having, where you deal with the integrity issues immediately, and then while you're clearing your name, do not hold public office, so that you also don't have a chance to influence the outcome, because it becomes very high stakes. When you're sitting, as Cynthia said, when you're sitting, there's the cost of a by-election, there's the upheaval of your supporters. It's just not fair on the Kenyans to shortchange them in this way. The law needs to be relooked.
Thank you so much, Joy. We'll be coming back to look at, the timing of that release. Is that appropriate? Could, IEBC have done better? We'll also be talking about whether we are headed in the right direction, whether in the future, one-day aspirants with cases in court will actually be unable to contest. But now we are following up what's happening in the counties. And in Laikipia, Derito Mureithi, now he's meeting with the IEBC and presenting his documents. You can see him on your screen. Let's just have a listen into the conversation there, and then we come back to studio to continue the discussion with our panel.
abide by the code of conduct. And we will all at the end of the day, when we received all the candidates for government, so I to sign the banner. So a complete one, where everyone is.
Yes, so I see. Today, or
Yes.
I keep a county government. But you want us to sign today, or you want your ship there? Okay, tomorrow? Tomorrow? Because we have a constraint. Yeah, we have a constraint. We're going across. Yeah. Tomorrow morning we can come.
Well, of course, what we can see on our screens, Rito Mureithe's nomination certificate will be handed over to him shortly. All seems to have gone well with him in regards to the clearance process. His background, of course, not new to many, bearing in mind he's been on the political scene for a while. He's a seasoned economist and financial market expert, and of course seeking to transfer his skills to the political arena, but this time on a gubernatorial level. So he has presented his documents there, and let's just have a listen briefly before we cross over to UASIN GISHU County, where we expect Governor Jackson Mandago and an independent candidate there, Sedekaya Kiprop Pundotich, to present their documents also throughout the course of this morning. But let's have a listen first to what's happening in Laikipia.
Hi, Agnes Mutisia, the returning officer for Laikipia County. Do hereby certify Rito Mureithi for passport number 3007273 is validly nominated for the county governor election to be held on 8th day of August 2017 in Laikipia County. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Rito, all the best in your endeavors.
There we go. Also in Kisumu County, we can see Senator Anyang' Nyong'o displaying his nomination certificate. He has been cleared and his name will be on the ballot box come the 8th of August. And he'll be vying against the incumbent, Jack Ranguma, who's actually vying as an independent. So we're bringing you just some images there from Laikipia County and Kisumu County as well. A busy day on that front, and we'll keep cutting our discussion in studio to go over to the different counties and bring you updates on what is happening there. I hope let's see if he'll give us more speech. Let's have a listen in. Happening now in Kisumu County. Well, those are live images that we're bringing to you from Kisumu County, where Kisumu Senator Anyang' Nyong'o has just been presented with his nomination certificate. Anyang' Nyong'o has been presented with his nomination certificate. Of course, even his supporters now walking outside to do some interviews with the media there. He's been accompanied by his running mate and members of his family. And he now knows that his name will be on the ballot box come the 8th of August. He'll be vying against the incumbent, Governor Jack Ranguma, who has an independent ticket. And we also know that later on we expect Atieno Otieno, the Jubilee aspirant, to present her documents there. We expect another big battle there, Kisumu County, lots at stake come the 8th of August. And so we know that that is one county to watch out for even as we get closer and closer to the August polls with less than 70 days. I believe on out 67 or so days to the August polls. Time truly is not on the side of the politicians. They need to sell their agenda to the voters and convince them that they are the right men or women for the job. We'll now cross over to UASIN GISHU County, where John Wanyama is on standby to give us an update. Jackson Mandago, the incumbent on a Jubilee ticket, was expected to present his documents. Wanyama, can you bring us up to date? Is the governor there? Is he ready to present his documents to the IEBC?
Thank you, Maura. Governor is not yet here and we are still waiting for him to arrive. We have just been informed that maybe at 10 or 11 a.m. we are expecting Governor Jackson Mandago to come and present his papers to be cleared to run for his seat. And then from there at around 2 p.m. today, we are also expecting businessman Zedekiah Budondich, aka Zeki, who is also coming to present his papers. Immediately after Governor Mandago presents his papers from here, he will be going straight to streets of Eldoret town just to tell people that he's cleared and he's ready to go for this road of campaign this year. Maybe, Maura, what people are expecting is that these two people should come and promise that there will be peace in UASIN GISHU town, unlike what we witnessed in nomination a bit, where people were feared that something might happen. But we are expecting and people are hoping and praying that this time round they will come and pledge and promise that there will be peace before and after this election. UASIN GISHU county has over 400,000 registered voters, and we are expecting to see this thing go straight. Maybe people are yearning to see a peaceful campaign where people are going to ensure that everyone is going to campaign peacefully and nothing goes on wrong. Wahiga from UASIN GISHU County, we are just putting down our machinery to ensure that everything that goes on here doesn't miss our viewers wherever they are, and you and our viewers will be the first one to be informed on this once we get it, Maura.
Well, thank you, John Wanyama, for that assurance. I can assure you your message has reached out to millions of Kenyans watching us. We go back now to Kisumu County, where Senator Anyang' Nyong'o, gubernatorial candidate now with the nomination certificate, is addressing the press. Let's have a listen in to that conversation.
Make sure that we campaign on issues that do not antagonize unnecessarily our competitors, and let the court of justice and of choice among the people of Kenya and among the people of Kisumu decide who will be their next governor. I am happy today that we are going to tour Kisumu and that we are going to thank the people of Kisumu for having nominated us to this position, and our party ODM and our coalition NASA and our party leader and candidate for the presidential election, Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga, all of whom are going to be committed to a free and fair election, and we hope that the Jubilee government will adhere to the Constitution and the principles of fair play. We did see there yesterday in Nyeri that the Jubilee government has already decided to abrogate the Constitution and turn Madaraka Day into a party issue. Madaraka Day is a national day for the people of Kenya. I was there on December 12, 1963, when we got independence. I was part of the choir from Alliance High School and Alliance Girls High School, which sang the national anthem for the first time when the Union Jack was being lowered and the national flag of Kenya was being raised. It was a moment of joy as we got self-rule, that we shall all determine our future with peace and liberty and justice as our defender. And I do hope that what happened in Nyeri yesterday and what happened in Mombasa the other day is not going to be the attitude and practice of Jubilee as we go to the election, and that certain candidates will be excluded for certain events simply because of partisan political reasons. And they have appealed to the people of Kenya to reject in total the partisan attitude of the government to national days and the partisan attitude of the government to implement in the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. I thank you very much. Okay. Leo hii ningependa kutoa shukrani kubwa sana Tume la Uchaguzi la Kenya, ambaye leo hii ilifanya kazi nzuri sana.
Well, Senator Anyang' Nyong'o there, of course, celebrating the fact that she has received a nomination certificate, talking about what he expects between now and August, and also reflecting on what happened yesterday, Madaraka Day in Nyeri as well, sharing his views. Of course, he's a former Minister of Medical Services, former Minister of Planning, and he hopes that come August 8th, all will work in his favor. And of course, we'll continue giving you more updates regarding what's happening to Kisumu as and when we get them. Right now, we go back to Laikipia County, when Derito Mureithi, holding his nomination certificate in his hands. Let's have a listen to what the former Industrialization Assistant Minister has to say.
20,000 signatures. Of course, the requirement is for 500, but many Laikipians wanted from the onset to state their case. That they are supporting Derito Mureithi. So we came today to bring an additional 20,000 signatures and also, of course, to collect the nomination certificate. Certainly on behalf of Laikipians, I feel pleased and happy that justice will prevail. There are many who have sought to block us from the nominations, Jubilee, as you know, through the courts, and a lot of intrigue intended to block us to get to this point. But we are pleased that justice has prevailed. I want to appeal to my competitors that we want a campaign and a politics based on ideas about how to create jobs in Laikipia, how to bring peace, how to deal with the rampant insecurity. Just last night at Kamwenje, there was armed robbery in many homesteads. Just last night. So we want to appeal to competitors that this is a campaign that should be about ideas. How do we get all these communities in Laikipia to live together? How do we create jobs? How do we deal with persistent drought? And things like that. How do we build our infrastructure? But I also want to say to competitors that do not mistake our demeanor for lack of resolve. We are in it to win it, and we want to sound a clear warning to competitors: do not mistake our demeanor for lack of resolve. We have a history of struggle. I come from a family with a big history of struggle. My own parents were Mau, and I want to tell people, please, let us be careful with our words. Let us exercise decorum. There's no reason to insult your brother or sister. And the elections will be over in 2 months' time. And we will have a country to live in, and your neighbor will be your neighbor, your sister will be your sister. There's no reason to quarrel with them. Of course, personally, I am a supporter of Uhuru Kenyatta. That is who I'll be voting for. And obviously, I appeal to all Kenyans to vote Uhuru Kenyatta so that the trajectory of development that we have can take hold. You saw just a couple of days ago a history being made with the standard gauge railway. You had just yesterday discussions on a big cancer hospital for Nyeri, discussions on how to get the dual carriageway to Isiolo so that we link with Lapset, which itself is Lamu, through Isiolo and onwards towards Southern Sudan. So I would appeal to all Kenyans to vote Uhuru Kenyatta, President, and to Laikipians, vote Derito Mureithi, Governor of Laikipia. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Rito Moredi there, just sharing on what he hopes, what he thinks are some of the challenges affecting the county and what he hopes he'll be able to do should he get into office come or after the 8th of August. He'll be up against incumbent Governor Joshua Irungu and up against also Toita Mwangi as well. And so a big challenge expected there, a big duel when the polls come the 8th of August. And of course, he also talked about or made an appeal for peace. Let's not cause or allow the politics to get us down even as we get closer and closer to the elections. Well, that's the first hour of Citizen Extra. Quite a different Citizen Extra from what you usually expect with what is happening around the country, and that is what will be happening even in our next 2 hours. But right now, we take a short break. We'll be right back. Do not go anywhere.